I was once the person who always had iceberg lettuce in my fridge. It was a staple because it was affordable, easy to chop, and honestly, I'd grown up believing that lettuce was lettuce, and one was just as good as another. But as the years rolled on, and I found myself at age 70, I started to notice changes in my energy levels, digestion, and even my skin health. Friends would rave about nutrient-packed salads or smoothies that gave them a lift in the afternoons. But I never felt the same vitality. Deep down, I suspected that something in my daily eating habits wasn't quite supporting the healthier, more active life I still craved. It was around this time I decided to take a closer look at what exactly I was putting in my grocery cart. Many seniors face this challenge. We stick with the same foods we've known for decades without realizing our nutritional needs have changed. Iceberg lettuce is convenient and offers some hydration, but it's relatively low in the vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants our bodies require more than ever after 65. When I discovered how much more I could get out of other leafy greens, I felt inspired, not discouraged. Because the truth is, we don't have to make enormous, expensive changes to eat better. Often it's a matter of swapping out a few simple items for more nutritious choices. If you've been concerned about bone strength, heart health, or even your energy in the afternoons, you'll be amazed at the difference a few small dietary shifts can make. After all, certain nutrients can have a significant impact on everything from maintaining muscle mass to reducing the likelihood of painful cramping, both of which can be big concerns as we age. Rather than rely on a bland, watery iceberg lettuce that offers fewer nutrients per bite, I discovered 4 alternatives that can help us feel stronger, stay more active, and even enjoy a richer variety of flavors at mealtime. I'm excited to share exactly why I stopped buying iceberg lettuce and how you can replace it with nutrient-dense greens that fit your lifestyle. I've spent quite a bit of time exploring senior-focused nutrition recommendations and comparing notes with friends who, like me, wanted to stay as vibrant and independent as possible. While I'm not a medical professional, I've studied these topics extensively, consulted with dietitians, and experimented in my own kitchen. Think of this as a friendly conversation with someone who's been in your shoes rather than a lecture. You'll learn about 4 specific leafy greens that pack a nutritional punch. I'll also address common misconceptions many of us believe, such as all lettuce is basically the same, or dark greens are too bitter to enjoy. We'll walk through practical tips on how to store, prepare, and cook these greens so they taste delicious. By the end, my hope is that you'll feel empowered to make these swaps and see just how delightful healthier eating can be without sacrificing taste or budget. So let's dig in together. You might be surprised at how these simple greens can invigorate your daily meals, support healthy bones and muscles, and maybe even spark a little more joy in your cooking routine. And if at any point something sparks a thought or a question, I'd love for you to share it. After all, this is a journey we're taking together. Whether you're already a seasoned salad enthusiast or you've just grabbed your last head of iceberg lettuce, I'm here to show you that there are more flavorful, nutrient-packed choices waiting to improve the way you look and feel each day. It may seem like a small change, but stick with me. Sometimes the smallest pivots have the biggest impact on our energy levels, our ability to stay independent, and our overall zest for life. Let's begin with the first powerhouse green that made me say goodbye to that old iceberg habit. I used to assume that all lettuce was created equal, so why pay more or try something else? That's exactly what Dorothy, 72, believed as well. She'd been buying iceberg lettuce each week for her lunch salads, convinced that if something is green and crunchy, it must be healthy. But Dorothy also struggled with leg cramps at night. They'd wake her from a deep sleep, and she believed it was just one of those things that happen when you get older. Then she learned that dark leafy greens like spinach are not only higher in essential minerals like potassium and magnesium, nutrients linked to muscle function and cramp reduction, but they're also loaded with vitamins that support bone health. This was a perspective shift for Dorothy, who had never considered that a simple swap could have an impact on her energy and comfort. She decided to replace iceberg lettuce with spinach in her daily salads. At first, she found the taste a little different, slightly more earthy, but she discovered she could balance that flavor with sweet additions like cherry tomatoes or even a sprinkling of dried cranberries. Within a few weeks, Dorothy noticed something unexpected. Her nighttime cramps diminished. She said she still experienced them occasionally, but far less frequently than before. While no one can promise that spinach alone will eliminate muscle cramps, Dorothy's experience is a common one among seniors who increase their intake of mineral-rich greens. Why does spinach make such a difference? It comes down to nutrient density. Spinach is packed with vitamins A, C, and K, along with a healthy dose of iron and folate, nutrients that help with immune function and red blood cell production. For many older adults, maintaining healthy iron levels can be a challenge, and spinach offers a plant-based source that's easy to incorporate. The physical benefits are complemented by emotional ones too. Dorothy said that simply feeling like she was doing something proactive for her body boosted her mood. Instead of feeling powerless against age-related changes, she felt back in the driver's seat of her health. If you're someone who worries about medication interactions, rest assured that spinach generally plays well with many common prescriptions. Still, it's wise to mention any major dietary changes to your healthcare provider, especially if you're on blood thinners, as spinach's vitamin K content can be significant. The simple step of mentioning, "Hey, I've added spinach to my meals regularly," can go a long way in ensuring you stay balanced. A quick tip for getting more spinach into your day: try using baby spinach in smoothies. If you throw a handful of spinach into a blender with some berries and yogurt, the taste is subtle and the color alone makes it fun. Or lightly saute spinach with garlic and olive oil and serve it as a side dish. It cooks down rapidly, so you can pack in quite a bit of nutrition without feeling like you're chewing an entire box of greens. For me, adding spinach omelets to my breakfast routine was one of the easiest ways to feel like I had more energy throughout the morning. Now, if you've been following along and finding these tips helpful, I'd love for you to share in the comments one change you've been tempted to make in your own kitchen, whether it's trying spinach or another green that catches your interest. Hearing from others about what they're changing can inspire all of us. Speaking of other greens, let's move on to the second alternative that made me rethink my grocery list. I used to glance at romaine lettuce and assume it was just another leafy variety, maybe a slight upgrade from iceberg. But if there's a misconception many seniors share, it's that romaine doesn't have enough benefits to justify switching away from old habits. That's what Harold, 68, believed. He was set in his ways, feeling that lettuce was primarily about adding crunch to a burger or sandwich. However, Harold was also dealing with prediabetes and looking for ways to manage his blood sugar better. His doctor recommended a diet rich in fiber and lower in empty carbs, but Harold felt a bit overwhelmed. How was he supposed to make changes that didn't feel like he was giving up all the foods he loved? When Harold discovered that romaine lettuce contains higher amounts of folate, fiber, and vitamin C compared to iceberg, he got curious. Fiber is crucial for better blood sugar management because it slows the absorption of glucose into the bloodstream. Romaine's crunchy texture satisfied his desire for a hearty bite, while its nutrient profile offered more vitamins and minerals that can help support overall metabolic health. After a few weeks of adding romaine-based salads to his dinners and occasionally swapping out bread for a romaine lettuce wrap, Harold noticed his energy wasn't plummeting after meals. He still enjoyed the texture and taste of a well-loaded sandwich. He just used a crispy romaine leaf as the holder for his fillings. It was a small tweak, but it made him feel more in control of his dietary choices. Not only can romaine help with blood sugar concerns, but it's also a friend to those of us who want to maintain healthy collagen for our skin and joints. The vitamin C in romaine plays a role in collagen production, which is something we rely on for joint flexibility and vibrant skin. While no salad can erase years overnight, supporting your body's natural collagen production can help you feel more limber and comfortable during day-to-day tasks, such as walking the dog or playing with grandchildren. The emotional benefits of choosing romaine might seem subtle at first, yet there's something empowering about munching on a crisp, fresh, nutrient-dense salad that you know is doing more for your body. Harold mentioned that he felt lighter, not just physically but mentally, knowing he was making food choices aligned with his health goals. It's one thing to be told by a doctor to improve your diet, and quite another to find a way that genuinely fits your tastes. If you worry romaine might spoil too quickly, one solution is to buy whole heads instead of prepackaged salad mixes. Store them in the fridge with a slightly damp paper towel around the leaves to maintain freshness. For convenience, you can wash and dry a few leaves at a time Then keep them in a sealed container. That way they're ready when you want to wrap up some tuna or chicken salad. Another simple recipe is to chop romaine. Add a handful of beans, some diced tomatoes, and a little feta cheese. Top with a vinaigrette, and you've got a hearty, fiber-rich meal that beats the classic iceberg side salad. We've now explored spinach and romaine, but there are still some other fantastic options that might surprise you. Before we head into the next alternative, take a moment to think. What's one food you eat regularly that could be swapped out for a more nutritious version? Sometimes identifying that one swap is all it takes to start a new, healthier habit. When I first encountered kale, I assumed it was only for health fanatics or younger folks who blend green smoothies all day. Perhaps you felt the same. Many seniors see kale as a fad food, often described as tough, bitter, or just plain unappetizing. That's exactly what Linda, 75, told me. She had heard kale was a superfood, but after one attempt at eating it raw in a salad, she was ready to say, "No thanks." The key to enjoying kale and reaping its remarkable benefits is learning how to prepare it in ways that enhance its flavor and soften its texture. When kale is massaged with a bit of olive oil, lemon juice, or vinegar, the leaves become more tender. That's something Linda didn't realize until she visited her daughter in California, who served a kale salad that was not only palatable but delicious. She noticed that the salad had been tossed with a light vinaigrette, allowing the acid to break down some of the toughness. Suddenly, Linda realized kale wasn't the bitter, fibrous chore she'd assumed. Why bother with kale in the first place? Kale stands out for its impressive blend of nutrients. It's high in vitamins K, A, C, and it contains antioxidants that may help combat oxidative stress, a factor that contributes to many age-related issues, from vision changes to joint discomfort. Linda, who had been dealing with mild arthritis, found that adding kale-based dishes to her weekly routine helped her feel more hopeful about keeping inflammation in check. While it wasn't a magic bullet, she noticed her joints felt a bit less stiff, and she also enjoyed the sense of accomplishment that came from preparing such a trendy dish at her age. Emotionally incorporating kale can be fun. Think about it. You're adapting to a food that's often marketed to younger crowds, proving that there's no age limit on trying new things. You don't have to be training for a marathon to love a nutrient boost. In fact, many older adults find that kale's fiber content helps promote regular digestion, a relief for those dealing with constipation or irregularity, which can become more common as we age. If you're uncertain where to begin, start small. Try adding a handful of kale to soups. When kale simmers, it softens and absorbs the flavors of the broth. Another option is to sauté it with garlic, onions, and maybe a sprinkle of red chili flakes if you enjoy a hint of heat. If a raw kale salad sounds intimidating, experiment with a warm kale salad topped with grilled chicken or fish. The slight wilting from the warmth of the protein makes the leaves even more tender. One common concern is cost. Kale can sometimes be pricier than iceberg lettuce. However, kale's hardiness means it often lasts longer in your fridge, especially if you store it properly in a breathable bag or container with a paper towel to absorb excess moisture. In essence, you might pay a bit more upfront, but you'll likely waste less. Kale is just one example of a leafy green with the potential to support better health outcomes in our later years. And while it might seem like a leap from familiar iceberg lettuce, small, consistent steps often lead to big changes over time. Before we move on to the final green, I'd love to hear if you have any cooking techniques for greens that have worked well for you. Whether it's a special dressing, a favorite spice, or a family recipe, feel free to share. After all, learning from each other's kitchen adventures is half the fun. I used to assume that arugula and other peppery greens were for restaurants or gourmet chefs. The truth is, this slightly spicy green can become a tasty staple at home, offering a range of nutrients and a flavor that makes meals feel anything but boring. Roger, 67, discovered arugula when his granddaughter served a homemade pizza topped with fresh arugula leaves. At first, he was skeptical, but he found that the peppery bite added a refreshing twist that replaced the need for heavy, salty toppings. Arugula is sometimes overlooked, yet it's rich in vitamins A and K, plus certain compounds that research suggests could have anti-inflammatory properties. While we can't say it cures anything, Arugula fits well into a lifestyle aimed at supporting heart health, bone strength, and overall vitality. Roger, who was struggling with mild hypertension, realized that a more plant-focused diet, especially one featuring a variety of colorful veggies, might help him keep his blood pressure in check alongside his medication plan. Arugula's bold flavor inspired him to branch out from standard iceberg-based salads, and he found that variety itself made it easier to stick to healthier eating habits. Many people think arugula is too pungent to eat regularly, but if that peppery kick puts you off, consider mixing it with milder greens. Combine a handful of arugula with spinach or romaine to moderate the flavor. Another trick is to balance arugula's bite with sweet or savory ingredients, like diced strawberries, pears, or shaved Parmesan cheese. This can turn an ordinary salad into something you'd expect at a fancy cafe. The emotional benefit here is the fun of exploring new flavors. For many of us, eating can become a chore if we stick to the same 3 or 4 meal ideas every week. Arugula invites a bit of culinary adventure. Even if you have physical challenges that make cooking a bit more difficult, like arthritis in your hands or issues with standing for long periods, throwing fresh arugula on top of a dish is quick and simple. Pair it with sliced tomatoes and buffalo mozzarella for a caprese salad twist, or fold it into a wrap for added zip. It's important, of course, to mention that arugula does contain vitamin K, so if you're on blood-thinning medication, you'll want to keep your healthcare provider in the loop on any significant changes to your diet. This step can be as simple as saying, "I'm eating more leafy greens like arugula regularly. Do I need any adjustments?" Typically, doctors welcome these discussions because it shows you're taking an active role in your health. If you're thinking, "I'm not sure if I'm ready to leap from iceberg lettuce to something so peppery," remember that you don't have to change overnight. You can gradually mix a small amount of arugula into your salads or sandwiches and see how your taste buds respond. Over time, you might find that what initially tasted strong becomes an enjoyable flavor boost. So there you have it. 4 alternatives: spinach, romaine, kale, and arugula that can offer significantly more vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants than the iceberg lettuce we've long relied upon. Each has its own story, flavor profile, and set of health benefits that can support a more vibrant life after 65. Let's step back and consider how these ideas can shape the way we eat and feel. When we give our bodies more of the nutrients they need, particularly through leafy greens that are high in fiber, vitamins, and minerals, we stand a better chance of maintaining our strength, mobility, and independence. Imagine feeling a bit more energetic during your afternoon activities, or noticing that your joints are less stiff after a day of walking around. These small improvements can add up to a much better quality of life. The urgency to make these changes isn't about alarm, it's about recognizing that as seniors, our nutritional needs have evolved. We require more of certain nutrients to maintain our bones, muscles, and immune system. Choosing alternatives to iceberg lettuce is a straightforward step, and you can tailor it to your preferences and budget. Maybe you'll start by picking up a small bag of spinach for your sandwiches or test out romaine wraps instead of using bread. Perhaps you'll decide to experiment with a kale soup recipe or top your usual pizza with a handful of fresh arugula. Whatever you choose, the key is to start, no matter how small that first step feels. If you're excited but still hesitant, consider talking to a trusted friend or family member who might enjoy exploring these new greens with you. Or set a goal. I'll try 2 new salad recipes this week. That simple objective can feel more manageable than attempting a complete kitchen overhaul. For those who want to explore further, you could keep a little notebook of how you feel after adding more nutrient-dense greens. Did you have more energy for your morning walk? Did your digestion improve? Seeing those positive shifts can help you stick with healthier habits long-term. I'd love for you to share this journey with others. Think about sending this video or these tips to a friend who's also looking to improve their eating habits. You could even challenge each other to swap recipes and compare notes on new flavor combinations. If you're feeling even more motivated, consult a registered dietitian about other ways to optimize your diet, especially if you deal with specific health concerns like diabetes, high blood pressure, or arthritis. Your healthcare team can help you personalize these suggestions, ensuring they fit with any medications or dietary restrictions you have. Above all, remember that you're in control of your choices. There's no expiration date on trying new foods or improving your diet. By replacing iceberg lettuce with spinach, romaine, kale, or arugula, even if it's just for a few meals per week, you're taking a meaningful step toward better health, more enjoyable meals, and possibly a more active, vibrant life. That's the real message. It's never too late to make beneficial changes. Your wisdom, life experience, and determination can guide you through these updates in ways that truly respect your body's evolving needs. So go ahead and open that fridge, look at the options, and see if you can make room for these nutritious greens. Your next salad, wrap, or sautéed side dish might just be the spark that lights a renewed sense of well-being. And as you continue exploring this journey, keep sharing your thoughts, successes, and even the stumbles. We're all in this together, learning and growing at every age. I'm cheering you on, and I can't wait to hear how these 4 alternatives bring new flavor and vitality to your table.